everyone, and welcome to Season 4, Episode 26 of Pro Wrestling's Top 50. I'm your host, Travis McNeil, and today we continue our countdown of the top 50 matches in Lucha Underground history as we officially hit the halfway mark on our list with match number 25 on our countdown, which is the Believers Backlash match between Drago and Hernandez from the July 29th, 2015 edition of Lucha Underground, which was Ultima Lucha 1, Part 1. Now this match is, I'm going to call it a hidden gem. It encapsulates everything that is fun and wonderful about Lucha Underground, and this is a match that far exceeds any expectations that I could have ever placed upon it. I hate lumberjack matches. I think there's been very few that have been actively good throughout wrestling history, and one of the things I hate more than lumberjack matches are matches where the fans are lumberjacks, and that is exactly what the Believers Backlash match is. It is a fans with straps lumberjack match. I talked about this a little bit in the Prince Puma versus Drago video a couple of episodes ago, that Lucha Underground actually did a pretty good job building this match up. We had Hernandez cost Drago his opportunity at the Lucha Underground Championship at Ultima Lucha Part 1. Hernandez had turned heel on Prince Puma, had been getting into altercations with fans, and he had actually taken the belt off of a fan to use it to whip Drago, who was one of the most popular babyface wrestlers on the Lucha Underground roster at the time. So it makes logical sense that the fans would want to get their revenge. The Lucha Underground fans were referred to on commentary by Matt Striker as the Believers. So hence we get the Believers Backlash match where they get, their straps and they get to whip Hernandez to high heavens. This match, it's so fun. The Lucha Underground part was really, being a television product with that whole kind of cinematic aspect. The fans at the Lucha Underground Temple, very much were a part of the show. Often I'd wonder, how much of their reactions were, kind of synthesized, by producers telling them to react certain ways. I don't know. I never went to a taping. I never bothered to really research what the tapings were like too much. But the crowd, they were really hot, and they elevated a lot of matches and a lot of moments there, and I love that Lucha Temple crowd. So here, it was kind of nice that these fans that have been such an active part of the first season, especially of the show, would kind of get that face time, and we would see a lot of familiar faces here. We would get Sean Scoville, Deshaun's 2 cents, the hot tub guy, whatever you want to call him, occasional GCW color commentator. What up, Sean? He would get some face time here and even get a shout out, from Vampiro and Matt Striker on commentary. And this match just tells a really simple story that the fans love Drago and they hate Hernandez. And that's shown really early on where, Hernandez throws Drago to the floor. The fans don't even touch him and allow him to get back in the ring. And then Drago throws Hernandez to the floor and they whip the hell out of that dude. And to his credit, I find these, kind of fan lumberjack matches to always be a little, unpredictable and kind of get my nerves going a little bit because you don't know how things will take a turn. But, to Hernandez's credit, he allowed himself to get whipped by these guys. One of the fans actually whips him in the head and he gets like a nasty welt on his head. It's shockingly kind of brutal for, what the match type is. Back in the ring, we get good stuff. Drago does a tornado and hits a cactus clothesline, and they both go back over the ropes. More whips on Hernandez. I know Sean was getting a couple in on that go, a couple licks in. But then they did something that was kind of cool where Hernandez actually blocks the strap of one of the fans that tries to whip him. And at this point, and again, this is where I think, things are manufactured a little bit, but I mean, who knows? Hernandez is a big, intimidating dude. The fans kind of like act scared of Hernandez and kind of take that step back, and they're like, oh, this guy could kill us if we keep whipping him. So it was really good, and it really added to the stories of the story of the match. Hernandez, we've seen him do it so many times. That guy's been around forever, since the early 2000s. from NWA Wild side to, you know, brief TNA appearances and Ring of Honor appearances before he'd really settle into his own with Homicide as LAX. You know, he would do the spot where he'd hit the border toss, which is the big, like, crucifix powerbomb, the awesome bomb. So he hits it to the floor on Drago, onto a bunch of the fans, you know, who just so conveniently were there to catch Drago's fall. But again, it was really cool. And we got just a wild spot where Hernandez goes for his, you know, signature kind of like tope over the ropes that he would do, but Drago actually spits his mist at him mid-tope, and Hernandez lands on his head. You know, think the Undertaker WrestleMania 25 dive with Shawn Michaels. It is brutal and nasty, and again, to Hernandez's credit, he keeps going, but, you know, while he's down, again, the crowd starts getting their licks in again. And we get a really creative finish where, you know, Hernandez, he just landed on his head. He's got mist in his eyes. He's being whipped. He goes under the ring to try to escape the fans and comes up on the other side. And at this point, you know, tries to do whatever he can to get a fighting chance. And he starts, you know, shoving the fans and fighting off the fans. But Drago somehow gets a pair of nunchucks, which we'll talk more about those nunchucks later with him. But he proceeds to just start teaming off on Hernandez with these nunchucks, ends up lying him out on a table. We get a big splash off the top rope through a table on the floor, which looked awesome, and then one more big splash in the ring for the 3 count. This was the main event on night 1 of Ultima Lucha. It was just a very, you know, send the fans home happy and the viewers happy kind of match. And like I said, it's everything that is fun about Lucha Underground. You could see another promotion, especially at that time, really pull off a match like this, but Lucha Underground did it, and it made for one of the more memorable TV matches that they'd ever had. It's Lucha Underground, depending on where you live. If you have the Tubi app, you might be able to find it on there. If not, though, a quick Google search, you can find these episodes. I believe this one is also for free on YouTube. If it is, I'll link it on my Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Wrestling50. And please join me again tomorrow as we continue to count down Pro Wrestling's Top 50. Top 50.